Okay, so welcome everyone to today's community committee meeting, the meeting for March 22nd, 2018. Let me promote Gregor real quick. Awesome. So we have a few things on the agenda today, but before we do that, we should go into a initiatives kind of update. So do any of the champions, yes, that's the word. Do any of the champions have updates they'd like to share?
Just briefly, there's not as much activity in the last couple weeks as there has been in the couple weeks before that. Primarily, I'm trying to figure out how to offload the idea that like I'm like the strict, I'm like more sort of like a big leadership part of this. I'd like other people to take big leadership parts as well. So trying to figure out how to make that work. So when I have like personal things I have to take care of, I'd like other people to help. So I'm going to be working on that. But there's been a lot of excitement in the localization groups and people asking questions and stuff. So that's I think that's the big win in the last couple of weeks, is seeing people in localization stepping up and being like, hey, we want to help out. So that's exciting.
Yeah, I can give an update in a similar vein for Badges Initiative. Like you, I've also been unable to dive into developing actual content as much in the past 2 weeks. But I've been excited to see there's been increased engagement on the repo. We now have 4 official members, and I'm going to get our official first meeting started in the next couple days here. Planning for it. Yeah, that's the update.
Awesome.
Oh, also, Tierney, it looks like a number of us can't start our videos.
Yeah, I have to promote you to co-host, so I am doing that now.
Awesome.
There you go. Okay. Awesome. Are there any other initiative updates?
I do. So I'm trying to raise my hand on remote. Couldn't find the little button. So user feedback, we've had really great interest in a public user feedback session that we're doing. So for awareness, I'll drop a link in the chat as well. But on March 30th, we're getting together the tooling space folks, and we're gonna bring tooling. They're gonna share, and we're gonna have some TSC and some ComCom, and just talk and get to know each other a little bit more. So really excited about it. It's the first time we've done this one, and it's a new group that we're engaging for user feedback, and that engagement has been really positive. So I'll drop a link in a second in the chat, but I invite you all to come. It's 9 a.m. Pacific in 1 week. And there's some updates on mentorship as well, but I'll let Mamai do that.
Awesome.
Did Ahmed get back? If Ahmed didn't, I know Ahmed said he was going AFK. If he has not come back, I can do that. But let's let other folks move on and give their updates.
Are there any other initiative updates?
Okay, so if there's no other updates, I will share the mentorship update. So tomorrow we have a team meeting. If you're interested in getting involved and working on the coordination, sounds like everyone doesn't have enough work to do. So if you want more work, we're actively getting the mentorship team set up, and Ahmed, who's spearheading the initiative. I'm helping out, and Conrad Holland, I believe his last name, Holomancer on GitHub from Operation Code, where a program that is like all built on mentorship is joining that, and it's kind of the three core group folks. So we need more individuals, we need more representation, and if you're interested, we're meeting tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific.
Awesome. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to add to the agenda or talk about before we get into agenda items?
Oh, actually, I have a question. Dan, did you get access to the calendar?
No.
Okay.
No.
Did you
Did I
PR yourself to the
haven't closed the loop on the calendar, or I did not. I did not. So what repo are we talking about? Sorry, I lost you, Tierney.
Broke up, yeah.
No.
Sorry,
the
Tierney.
answer is the admin repo. You just add yourself to the list in the README.
Okay. Cool.
Yep.
Let me just add you, because I was just thinking like that would be great. But both of the initiatives you're talking about, it would be great to make sure that like they get updated on the calendar so people can join when they see if they're actually keeping up with the calendar.
This is Mark. I actually went into the admin group and tried to add you, Dan, and I was not able to figure out how to add a user to the calendar. So it's actually on my to-do list, but if someone else knows how to do it, it would be extremely helpful.
No, actually, thank you, Mark. And I did actually submit the issue. Sorry, I forgot about it.
So you have to well, the process is to submit a PR, not an issue. So
Got it. I submitted the issue, but didn't submit the PR.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay.
No worries. Okay. Anything else people would like to talk about before we get into agenda items? Cool. So we can go into the agenda now. So first agenda item, let's see here. Okay, so Collaborators Summit in Berlin. I'm trying to see why that was added. I don't know who added it. CC agenda. Okay, Olivia added. I don't believe Olivia is here.
We talked last time about beginning to coordinate the. Oh, and I just gave the update. So I believe last time we talked about preparing our session, and Olivia wanted to take point on getting that set up. But if she's not here, we can move that to a subsequent meeting.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna remove CC agenda right now, just for the time being, because I don't know if there's necessarily an agenda item. I do believe there was an issue created for that in the repo, though, in the ComCon repo, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. So the next, anyone else have anything they'd like to add on that? I will add just, if you want to come out to the Collaborator Summit, please be sure to kind of start preparing for that. It's early June, I believe. I know it's June, yep, June 1st. So May 31st and June 1st. It will be in Berlin, pairing with JSConf EU. So if you like to come, we'd love to have you. There's going to be quite a few collaborators there from across the project, ComCom, everything else, TSC, admin, other things. So yeah, we'd love to see you there. And if you need travel assistance, there is a travel fund that you can use. That is actually our next agenda item. So I will kind of move into that. I'm guessing Tracy is the one who added this to the agenda. Let's see here.
Yeah, I'm happy to talk about it if people have questions.
Okay, yeah, so the next thing is just travel fund approval and being careful about funds available. So this is just generally something, yeah.
Yes, so I would love to talk about this. Okay, anybody on this call who is a community committee member, we have a special privilege and responsibility alongside any of the TSC members to +1 someone's travel fund request. Those are the only people who are allowed to approve travel fund requests. And while we get very excited about people being able to come and travel to things like Collab Summit, we have to make sure that we follow the steps. So anybody who's plus oneing, you should have read the full travel fund document to know what you should be approving and how, and know that you are taking responsibility. If there are not funds available and you've approved them, you have potentially set somebody back money that they will not be reimbursed for. So it is a very real responsibility. My recommendation is if you have questions, feel free to ping anybody, email anybody here as soon as you see that, because we don't want to slow people down from these requests. We just want to make sure that we're not putting any real financial burden on someone by us not approving things that we don't actually have money for. The process is there. It does need to be improved.
Is there a bot or anything that can highlight these concerns when anybody makes that sort of a request?
No, that's a good point, because we do need to, the admin repo is not watched as closely, I think, as the ComCom and the TSC repos are. So yeah, I can make a point to go through. I think Terrell just mentioned that there's a few people who are waiting for plus one. So I'm happy to go in and do that. But yeah, that's a good point. If we need to be able to escalate it, especially now as this travel season's getting closer. I don't know if there's a way other than making sure that you like at the ComCom or TSC, which is also in the instruction, to help get at least more notifications happening for us to have eyes on it.
Awesome. Anyone have any? Oh, did Dan drop? No, he's in here twice.
No, this is more me.
Okay. So anything else anyone would like to add or ask questions about on that? No?
I believe on one of the issues there was comments on tracking remaining funds better. Was that resolved in the comment thread? And I didn't see it.
It's been resolved yet. It's that needs to be changed.
Tracking the remaining funds for the travel funds.
Yeah. So Mark, for just in case you haven't seen the issue, I brought it up to both the TSC and ComCom that we need to be careful about approving, because there were some folks, I think, who were not aware of what they were supposed to be checking before they had approved. I don't think we've had any problems from that yet, but in seeing that, I recognize that we are supposed to have a monthly, I think it's something that we could have both the TSC chair and Tierney make sure to check in with you on a monthly basis, just to know like what the total is that we're at from accounting side, from the LF accounting side, just so that we're staying ahead of the game. I know last year and the year before, it's not been a problem with us getting close to capping out, but we are also being way more aggressive now in making sure that people know about it. So we're already seeing way more activity, and we want to make sure that we don't get anywhere near there, and that we also have time, if we do get near there, to have plenty of time to request to the board and plan and calculate and sort of, you know, pitch that additional need.
Yeah. I'll also point out, like, we got to make sure that when people do apply for it, they also submit their expenses in a timely manner, because sometimes I think people get approved and, you know, something changes and then those funds are sort of locked up. But I've gotten 2 travel expense reports from last year's Collab Summit in this calendar year, which
doesn't work.
And the answer is really, if people need to be there, I'll go figure out how to take my tin cup and get the money so that we can get the people together that need to get together. But I just, as we're educating people, quick turnarounds and on the expense reports will help us be more precise in how much is there for them. But yeah, that's cool. Thank you.
Yeah, and I did go through a little bit ago, and like there was 7,500 pending, just in travel fund requests for Collaborator Summit here, or sorry, in at JS Coffee U. So we should be good for now. But yeah, just I'm glad this is coming up now rather than later. So. Okay. Anything else anyone like to add to that? I know I've said that like 3 times now, but anything else?
Tony,
Yeah,
do you
me.
think it would be good for us to report in on this on a monthly basis, or just like have it somewhere?
Report in how?
I mean, like, literally just in one of the meetings, like we do with the moderation team stuff. Like,
Yep.
just say like, this is what the travel fund is at.
Yep.
Yeah, and typically what happens about the 15th or so of every month is I get the actuals from accounting that say how much has been spent. So I can always give you that number for the previous month. And it's roughly the 15th. It depends on how the weeks fall, but every month we can just give you the number that's there from the finances. And then if there's a delta between what's been paid out and what we think our liability is going to be, we can plan for that more easily.
Yeah, that sounds great. Okay. So yes, Tracy, I do think we should do that. That'd be just a generally helpful thing. Okay. So yeah, I think we can move on to the next agenda item now. Okay, so next agenda item is issue 267 in the ComCom repo. Let me get to it here. Does that not exist? I'm not able to open that. Hold on, give me 1 second. Okay, yes. So automate meeting participant history document.
Yeah, so this is, I believe it was automatically added by the script. I should have removed the tag for this week, I'm sorry. We've had no movement on this since last week. So.
Okay, awesome. No worries. Next item. So this issue 201 is something that is an older issue. It came from the discussion around the still open PR, create working groups.md, and then which was an attempt to add documentation around what working groups are in the ComCom, and then this is an action item taken to kind of begin working on that. I added this today. This is an issue from December 28th, 2017. I added this today because this discussion has come up like 3 or 4 times in the past 2 weeks for me, and when I've been talking with other people, specifically around inclusivity, or not inclusivity, internationalization, internationalization working group, and then even evangelism actually is part of that. We don't actually have documentation around what a working group is, so I don't think we can actually have a working group. So yeah, this is probably something we need to begin working on. Again, especially now that we've hit kind of a level of critical mass, and we're seeing the interest in working groups as a entity in the ComCom grow. So I don't really know what next steps are. Floor is totally open.
It seems like this is tied to the definition of membership. And do you think we need to finish that work first, or do we need the definition of what we're members of to complete that work?
Yeah, it's a little bit chicken and egg.
Right.
This might be good to develop in tandem with the membership.
Yeah.
Because each one will probably feed the other.
Yeah. Okay. In that case, we can probably, so there's, for ComCom members reference, there's a bi-weekly meeting and bi-weekly every other week meeting about membership. So you are all welcome to come to that, including observers, and kind of help us flesh that out and kind of define how membership and collaboration goes in the future for ComCom. We're making progress, but
Paul?
this is definitely something that we should probably add to the agenda for that.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, is Olivia on the call?
I don't think so.
Okay, yeah, because I think we've had 2 meetings now on that. It's probably good for us to report into the minimal amount is there has not been a lot decided, but we've been exploring again, like clearly what membership means, but also in exploring like what being a ComCon member means, we are also trying to and define that. We're also trying to move away from as much process and around people being able to contribute in all of these initiatives, right? So we're getting close to that. I think it's great for people to attend this meeting if they can. Is the next one next week?
Yes, it will be next week. It's not on the calendar right now, but it is next week. I will put it on the calendar today.
Yeah,
so
that would be great.
It's 12 to 1 p.m. on Wednesday, I believe.
Yeah. And part of this conversation has been like the working groups and the teams and whatever we've got going, like they should all feel valued and be contributing without needing to be a member of ComCom, which was created, the membership is created to deal with the administrative minutia of the community initiatives, not to be the only way that you could be considered a collaborator by being in this top level committee sort of thing. So we're also talking with some of the TSC folks on what the definition of collaborator really is and like whether it needs to adapt or whether we need to have a separate term for that that is of equal value in the project. So it's very fascinating, and I think that I think should the working group discussion be a part of that meeting?
I think it's related. Because it's part of what membership will be. It's it's a factor in membership. I don't necessarily know if it needs to be siloed to that meeting, but it is a part of that.
Okay. Yeah, we probably need to have drafts like for us. I would say for both the individual membership. Sorry, too many things on my brain lately. The ComCom member definition and then the working group definition as they exist and maybe how they need to be changed, and then we can tear them up from there. Because I think from the prior conversations, we're all on the same page of that. Okay. Cool. I'll talk to Olivia afterward about what the agenda looks like for that. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good.
I was just going to say also uniquely in that context where we're seeing confusion between people wanting to be thinking that they might need to join ComCom in order to participate in a working group. I've seen it even on a sub level where people are confused about needing to join like a working group to be able to contribute in like say a localization group, and they're thinking that they need to join that. So creating clear definition I think is really, really key. So thanks for putting this forward.
Yep. Awesome. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to add to that discussion?
Tierney, we have a question for time zone clarification when you said 12 to 1.
Yeah, so it's actually 12 to 1 on Tuesday, and it's 2 to. Hold on, give me 1 second. Yeah, it's 1 to 2 on Tuesday next week. So I was literally corrected in every possible way. Eastern. Apologies. Eastern time. It's on the calendar now as a repeating event.
Awesome.
So before we get off that topic, I'd like to sort of broach a matter of process in how we're empowering the group that's going and doing the work to be successful, right? So we have what I would what we could describe as a subcommittee, going off and working on these matters on behalf of the greater the greater ComCom. And I'm just wondering if we want to give that a little bit more definition, so we explicitly empower that group. We recognize as a broader ComCom that not everybody is interested or able to participate in that discussion. But we, as a group, collectively agree that we want to see that happen, and we want to see that we'll bring it back in, we'll ratify it and whatnot. But we don't really have process for that. Is it worth exploring that?
Well, that's it's interesting. What I thought about was like what we are doing is, you're right, is a subcommittee is essentially the membership initiative.
Okay.
Just
right.
another initiative, so it can wind down, right? Like it doesn't.
Right. Yeah. But like just having having that group be explicitly empowered to say, hey, we know that it's a subgroup of ComCom, and we're watching and participating and confirming here in the ComCom meetings, the activities, but just being explicit there, since we've had in some of the other groups a little bit of frustration if all the work happens and then bringing it back into the greater initiative. I just don't want to see that work go unappreciated.
Yeah, I agree. It might be good to agree on a ratification process, like an end game for this committee. Like what's the final deliverable, and how does the committee choose to ratify it as a whole?
Oh, the committee's not doing anything other than bringing back like proposals to the ComCom.
Yeah, so it's basically the group will surface the work that they've done back to the ComCom. Does that make sense, Adam?
By committee, I meant the community committee as a whole.
Oh, okay.
That's a subcommittee.
I wanted to make sure people didn't think we were like the people in that group were just like going off and like passing.
No.
Committee.
So does anyone have like an objection to that? And what would be the next steps for that if we did want to do that?
Just writing it down, I think. I would say we create an issue and saying, there's a committee of folks, these are the folks who volunteered, and these are our objectives. And I think that's enough structure for now. Okay. It's the first time we're really going and doing this, and I'd love to see it supported to be successful.
Yeah, that would be nice too, just to have it captured as a document in the end too. Like once we've gone this, it could just be membership initiative, as a README, and say like this at this time was captured in this way. People love to read that context for down the road when we're making other decisions or potentially proposing.
I mean, this is definitely like we could document this in one of our in the documents folder in ComCom. I'm happy to create the NPR and just say, we're write a basic outline of what's happening and then PR that in, and also include the people who participated. Yes, we do. We have quite a bit of notes.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Okay.
Thank you, Jim.
Yep. Okay, so I will take care of that hopefully today. Anything else that anyone has to say on that?
I think there was a question on the chat about pseudo membership of this subgroup. Yeah, so will the members of the subgroup be members of the ComCom? I don't necessarily know if that'll change, like if they're an observer, effectively. Will that elevate them to ComCom membership? So I don't think that would change the process that already exists, but I don't think that, we've discussed this in the membership program, or whatever the term is going to be, the membership initiative thing, that they're, it's open to anyone. So I don't think that it's like a requirement, and I don't know if it'll necessarily elevate beyond the current process, because that process is already defined, and that's kind of what we're trying to redefine in this group. Yeah, we're basically trying to like figure out how we can do away with the observer status being the way that you earn a ComCom membership, because it's like a long crawl for something that people like may not want to be doing as their majority work, right? They may want to just be working on internationalization,
or education or evangelism, and that's awesome. And we want them to focus on that energy if they want to, and not be spending time attending ComCom meetings if that's not what they
care about.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and if I may ask something, if I may add, just I was one of the first ones to push for the membership initiative. I'm not a member; I'm an observer, so it's free for everyone to come and have a word and participate in these meetings.
Yeah, in that context, we actually relied on that context a little bit in the last one with Aguirre and getting the kind of input of a current observer. Yeah, so that's actually really helpful, kind of additional context that pulls us and it helps us inform the decisions that we make.
Yeah, the perspective is necessary because we don't want to just say, "Oh, well, here's all the existing members. What do they think?" Like,
right?
Is us
trying we're already members,
right?
Yeah.
It's the beauty of open source.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I mean, I was an observer like a year ago, and I became a member a year ago, so I don't know what the process is like now. Like it might be a different experience. So, and I think that goes for there's a wide range across the last year that different people in this meeting right now who are members have had. So yeah. Awesome. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to add to that? Awesome. I would like to just say that Jem is doing a fantastic job taking minutes. So thank you, Jem. Really good minutes. Okay. So the next issue is in Node.js mentorship. Communication channel for the matched mentors mentees first meeting. So I don't know if this, Ahmad, please let me know if we just didn't remove the label from the last meeting.
Yeah, actually, yeah, we didn't remove the label,
okay.
But actually I applied to them like during the last meeting, and they haven't gotten to me yet. So I'm not sure if it's still active or what's happening exactly, but I don't want this to be like a blocker to the people applying for the mentorship program. They're waiting for their approval for some reason.
Yeah, so it should be automated. I heard someone else saying that they also didn't. This was in a different issue in the ComCom where someone came in and was looking for something, and we pointed them there, and they also said, "Yeah, it didn't work." So we might Tracy and I know Tracy and I both are pretty active in there. I know Dan is also familiar with the maintainers. So we might actually want to reach out to them and tell them that people are having some issues, because yeah, it should just be an automated form, and then like once you submit the form fully, you should just get an invite like instantly. So if that didn't happen, that's a little bit concerning.
Okay.
So I can take that as an action item to reach out to them. In the Node Slackers and see if they've had issues or what an issue could be. So even if there is issues, and they know about them, we can get that documented and defined. But yep.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else that anyone would like to add to that discussion? Okay. So with that, I think we're at the end of our meeting.
I've just had a question. Forgot to ask for the membership part. Just for the record, I don't think I've seen it in the minutes of the last meeting. But as far as I understand, for now, we proceed with the actual current pathway to membership. The observers have to wait for the 3 months.
Yes. So until that is finalized, that will be until we change it officially, we will continue to use our prior process.
Yeah, we're not going to put anybody in limbo in the meantime.
Yep.
Okay, so I guess I'll just have to submit a PR then, because I think I've reached the time frame.
Awesome. Yeah.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Awesome. Yeah. So just submit PR, adding yourself, and you should be good to go. Awesome.
That's some good news, then.
Great. So unless anyone else has anything they'd like to add, I'm going to open up the QA real quick on YouTube.
I have one quick thing.
Go ahead.
I opened this last time, and I'm not sure if we discussed near the end. I'm just looking for the link here. About
go ahead.
Oh, about how we address licenses for non-code initiatives.
Yeah. Yeah. So you want to talk about that?
I think I hadn't seen your note about an hour ago. I just want to suggest maybe that if anybody has good examples for some of these non-code repos, that they could maybe add them to the issue.
Awesome.
Do we have an existing? I could have sworn that we had somewhere in the project a note about non-code license, content license.
In ComCom or in the org?
In the org. I wonder if someone in the TSC would be able to help us with this. Yeah, because also licensing is one of the few things I think that we do have to confer with the foundation on.
Right.
Yeah. So I do think that there's been a discussion recently that Miles posted. Miles and Mark were having a discussion about it, and then we kind of got pulled into that one as well. I can't remember the context of where I heard it. I've had too many meetings over the past few weeks, but I commented in that issue that Mark said that feedback from the legal team is don't change licenses once you already have a license, and then once you choose a license, that's the license you should be the one you're using going for. Oh, Mark's on the call. I totally forgot.
That's cool.
Go ahead. Could you share that kind of input?
Yeah, I mean the crux of it is that because our friends at the Mouse have continued to extend copyright, it's not that huge of a deal. But the etiquette or the best practices, don't remove one that's there. If you update a file, you can add the project copyright but not remove the original. Well, you could do it, but it's the etiquette would be to just add it. Don't use dates, because by the time that the dates come around, they'd be relevant that the content probably no longer is in 75 or 80 years. And then the other thing is there's this SPDX tagging system, which is the tags that identify licenses so that when you scan code, it makes it easier for it to pick up what the code is licensed under. Those were the crux of that. And then there's also the sort of other topic is on non-code contributions, which we don't have an answer to right now, and I think came up in the last ComCom meeting is what you, and I think Dan pointed out, we could come up with what we think we would like and have the lawyers make a recommendation. The only thing I would add is it was a very educational meeting, and I think that they would probably make a recommendation if we would like them to, but it's probably going to be the same recommendation. The lawyers that gave us that advice work for Microsoft and IBM, I believe, and the one Palo Alto law firm that's escaping me that does a lot of the startup stuff. But it was really good feedback. And Karen Copenhaver is a good IP lawyer who does stuff for the Linux Foundation, but she also was an IP lawyer for us when I was at a large tech company, public tech company. So
Karen's great. She fights for the user.
Yeah. I think until we get a recommendation on which license to use for non-code repos, we're actually blocked on adding licenses to any of the new repos.
Yeah.
So we could get that recommendation rather than later.
Yeah, the context.
I made the mistake of adding an MIT license and then removing it, so it's still in the history. I don't know if that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, and on the badges initiative, I was called out by Miles for not having a a license. And he said that people in stricter companies wouldn't be able to contribute to the project until it was added. So we're restricting contribution until we do have a license recommendation.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, it's weird because MIT like potentially doesn't apply to the non-code stuff, but then
it's not software.
Not having a license at all is also a liability. So like publishing anything is tough.
Yeah.
So, and that's where this issue comes in, is that last time we talked about some of this, and the specific takeaway was that if we want to make some requests from legal, that it would be better if we went into that prepared with some of the examples. And so that's where that issue is. If we have good examples, we should add them to that.
Yep.
Yeah, I was going to ask, with what is it, content as in like writing, or is it like data? Like what the user feedback has been gathering?
There are a couple of examples on the top or on the issue itself, but some like the 4 examples I've listed are around writing process. For design assets is the second one, bits of code, little snippets of code, and data from things like user feedback.
Yeah, data would likely be a separate license because it's such a specific. I've been doing a lot of data rights research this week and the last couple of weeks and talking to lawyers for my own work, and it's very interesting to see like what the LF has a really good data rights license. I would imagine they'll probably recommend that, but
yeah, well, and see, it would need, the user feedback would need to be dual licensed probably, or at least to have that data be specifically licensed, especially since it went through the LF, because we collected that through, I'm struggling to think of his name. Starts with a G.
Greg.
Yes, Greg, thank you. So we collected that through the LF, and that might require that they license it in a certain way. I don't know. But,
and in fact, in user feedback, we would like that, right? Like
yes.
we intentionally abdicated responsibility to the foundation because, as a group of volunteers, we can't really take responsibility for that data ownership. So we intentionally tried to put that in the hands of, as much as possible of the foundation. So,
okay.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So sorry, my next question then.
We are blocked.
You said that the lawyers did make a recommendation already, or we were still waiting?
They made the recommendation and updated the issue on copyright in the code is already, I updated that issue yesterday or the day before.
Okay.
So we didn't get to a recommendation on the non-code.
Yeah, so if we come up with the list in this meeting of the kinds of licensing we want, I think I can just send an email and say, do we need to meet, or can we get a discussion of that? Because what really happened was I think they were all pretty much in agreement because they've been in that rodeo before.
Yeah.
But,
it sounds like we had that list now, so.
Yeah.
I think those three seem to be it.
Yeah, I just put a list of 5 different repos that are like kind of different variations of what we would want to license. Badges, I18N, Node.js collection, website redesign, and user feedback. So those are kind of examples we can point them to, and we're probably happy to talk through that. I can, and I know many people in here can as well. Oh, Olivia's here.
Follow up. Maybe the couple of us who are interested in this should follow up in an email with Mark afterwards then, because generally speaking with lawyers, they don't want to just dig into the code base. They want like the short gist of the things that you're looking for and how it gets used, because they can't necessarily glean that from looking at the repos.
Yeah, and actually the people that were participating in the legal committee were not your average lawyers. They actually knew what open source was. I think they might actually logged into GitHub before and things like that. So it was a very, very savvy in this space group. So
that's awesome.
Well, yeah, let's follow up with that then quickly so that we can like stop having blockers then.
Yep.
Risks in the meantime, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah, and I don't know how much we can lean on the legal committee, but it might be nice to have someone join a ComCom meeting and share that context with this group.
It probably will be. You mean the context for?
Just getting everyone to comfortable. Having a lawyer, convey that and getting everyone comfortable. If there was somebody that wanted to engage with the broader community. There'd be a nice opportunity to connect the dots here.
Yeah. I won't promise on that one because there's sort of it's a lawyer committee within, but I'll ask. I definitely will.
Good.
Awesome. And so just to close this out, it looks like there might have been a miscommunication with daylight savings time for those of our friends who are not in the U.S.
Right.
So we're probably gonna to reconsider the time because I know there's also some current members who have shifted, and this isn't necessarily an optimal time either for them. So that might be an action item that we should take to reassess what this works, or if this time works for us still. Sorry that miscommunication happened, Olivia. Apologies. Didn't even consider it, so. Okay. With that, so does anyone else have anything they'd like to add? We have about 10 minutes left in the meeting. Do we want to circle back on the membership stuff that we were talking about at all, or?
Before we do that, I think it's also important just to recognize when people are doing awesome stuff. I just want to say thank you to Tracy for handling all the logistics for getting everybody together, in Berlin. Thank you for making that work. You're awesome. Thanks.
Yes. Thank you very much, Tracy. Very, very appreciated. Okay. So anyone else have anything they'd like to add? Or continue another discussion? Or are we good to wrap up? Good to wrap up? Okay. With that, I think we will end today's meeting. This is the first one in a while that we've ended early, so I'm very, very happy with that. Proud of you all.
Go team, go.
Great. See ya. See you in the next meeting.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Good one.
Bye.
Bye, Olivia.
Bye, Olivia.